In the blazing heat of the frontier, Doc Vance thought he'd seen every kind of trouble a man could face, until the day a wounded Apache warrior collapsed on his land, and their legendary leader, Swifthawk, demanded to know whether this white doctor was friend or foe. What began as a single act of mercy would pull Doc into a deadly war of lies, greed, and betrayal, and into the path of the ruthless land thief who had stolen his wife. Watch till the end to uncover what really happened, partner, and tell us where in the world you're watching from. If these Western tales make your day a little better, subscribe now. Your support keeps them coming.
The sun beat down on the parched earth of Doc's claim, the only shade being cast by the towering frame of the ranch well. Dr. Elias Doc Vance, a man whose kindness was as wide as the plains he lived on, wiped the sweat from his brow. His gaze was fixed not on his work but on the small group of Apache warriors gathered near the cottonwoods bordering his land. They were tending to a man lying still on the ground. Among them, a woman stood guard, her posture radiating an authority that transcended mere rank. This was Naya, known to her people as the Swift Hawk, and to the few white men who knew her legend, as a leader of uncommon grit and wisdom. Their eyes met across the dusty field. Doc felt the familiar knot of fear and prejudice tighten in his gut. The systemic hatred for the Apache threat was the air every white settler breathed. But Doc was a healer first. The sight of a human being in pain was a command he could not ignore. He watched for a long hour, wrestling with the societal decree that labeled these people enemies. "Let the law handle it," a cold voice whispered. "They brought their trouble to your doorstep." But the healer in him roared back, "A wounded man is just a wounded man." Collecting himself, he took a deep, shuddering breath. He started walking. Naya watched him approach, her rifle, an old but well-maintained lever action, lowering by mere inches. Her eyes were chips of obsidian, sharp with suspicion. Doc's heart hammered a frantic rhythm against his ribs, a frontier drumbeat of pure terror. He stopped a few yards away, raising his hands, palms outward, the universal sign of peace. "I am Doc Vance," he announced, his voice surprisingly steady despite the tremor in his hands. "I'm a doctor, that man. He needs help beyond a field bandage." Naya finally lowered her rifle. Her gaze never wavered. "He has been shot. We have drawn the lead and stanched the flow, white man. But he does not wake." Her English was clean, though accented, a surprising revelation. Doc moved closer, kneeling beside the unconscious warrior. The wound was in the shoulder, rough-handled but cleaned. "Bullet shock," Doc murmured, examining the pallor of the man's skin. "He needs tonic, clean rest, and constant watch. I have the proper remedies inside, and a proper bed." He straightened, meeting Naya's flinty gaze. "There is a barn near my house. It is clean and dry. There is also a well there. Pure water for all of you. It is yours if you will let me help this man." Naya studied him for a long, silent moment, weighing the risk of trusting a white man against the immediate necessity of saving a warrior. "My name is Naya. We accept your offer," she signaled her men. They lifted the wounded man and followed Doc toward the barn. Water and trust inside the cool shadow of the barn. Doc prepared his tinctures and instruments. Naya's warriors, lean and guarded, watched every move. When Doc offered them water from a pail freshly drawn from the well, one of the younger warriors spoke swiftly to Naya in their native tongue. Naya turned to Doc. "He says the water might be poisoned, that the white man's hand is often a deception." Doc didn't flinch. He picked up a dipper, filled it, and drank deeply, his eyes locked on Naya's. He savored the cool, clean water, then set the dipper down. "I drink that water every day," he stated simply, "and I offer it to you, with an honest heart. My medicine is not poison, my water is not poison, and my word is not poison." Naya studied his face, a slow nod of approval replacing the suspicion. "It is good water," she told her men, and they drank. That night, after Doc had administered a calming draught and seen to the warrior's comfort, he sat by a small fire with Naya outside the barn. "You are a strange white man," Naya said, her voice soft in the darkness. "You know who we are. You know what your people say we are. Why have you risked everything, your property, your life, to aid those the world tells you are your enemies?" Doc poked the fire with a stick, watching the sparks fly. "The world is full of noise, Naya. Prejudice is just a loud noise that stops a man from hearing his own heart. For me, humanity is first. I am a doctor. I see pain, not Apache or white man. I see a man who needs a skilled hand, and I cannot hold myself from helping. The rest, it's just politics and bad blood." Naya gave a rare small nod of understanding. "We hear things on the wind. We heard that 5 days ago, horsemen came to this ranch."
"That your wife was taken." Doc's jaw tightened, the firelight catching the grief in his eyes. "They came at night, 5 of them. They took Alara, said I had 5 days to empty the ranch, or sell it cheap, or they'd burn my land and kill her." His voice cracked. "They did the same to Davy's ranch, a year back. He panicked, sold out, and ran. Now they hunt me." He looked up at the moon. "I reported to the sheriff, but they are ghosts, gone into the hills. No trace of Alara." Naya's lips thinned into a grim line. "This is not our way, Doc Vance. We live in peace with the land and with each other. We do not raid or kill or kidnap for a piece of ground. These are crimes against the spirit. If a man attacks us or kills our people, then the circumstances change, but we do not hunt the weak for their holdings." She spoke with the finality of a deeply held law. "I have 5 days left, Naya," Doc said, the despair heavy in his voice. "5 days until I lose everything." Naya rose, her shadow stretching long across the barn door. Her voice was steel. "You sheltered the wounded. We will not abandon the man who shows us mercy. We will help you." The arrival of Silas. The next morning, the dust plume appeared first, then the riders. Doc saw them and felt a cold dread settle in his stomach. It was Silas Thorne, a brutal man with a reputation for bullying and a thirst for land, flanked by 3 equally vicious-looking men. Doc strode out to meet them, instructing Naya's warriors to stay hidden in the shadows of the barn. Silas reined in his horse, a sneer twisting his face. "Well, Doc, it seems your little homestead is harboring trouble." He gestured toward the barn with his rifle. "We're hunting the Red Devils, Doc. They're the ones who took Davy's family last year, and now they've taken your wife. I saw their tracks leading to your well. They're hiding in your barn, aren't they?" Doc stood his ground, hands firmly clasped behind his back, projecting a confidence he didn't feel. "The men in my barn, Silas, can barely stand, let alone threaten to fly. They were wounded and thirsty. They are not the horsemen who took my wife. When you trust their word, Doc, they are enemies of all white men." Silas's voice boomed, hoping to intimidate. "They are in my land now, and I know more about them than anyone on your posse. They are wounded people, and I am a healer." Doc met his gaze, unflinching. "I help them. They are under my roof. You will leave my land, Silas." "Now?" Silas's eyes narrowed, rage simmering beneath the surface. "You are a fool, Doc. I'm leaving now, but mark my words, by sheltering them you've picked a side. You will face the consequences." He wheeled his horse around, and the group rode off, kicking up a cloud of accusing dust. Doc recounted the encounter to Naya. Her expression hardened. "Silas Thorne seeks to make himself a lord on this prairie," she surmised. "His anger is too loud for an honest man. He uses us as a cloak." She gave an order to one of her men. "We have received word. The chief, our father, rides toward us. He brings 100 warriors ready to strike a new camp." Doc froze. 100 warriors. "Naya, I cannot have a war on my ranch. If they find 100 Apache warriors here, you will be safe, Doc Vance." Naya interrupted, her authority absolute. "You are the kind man who protected us. You will stand behind us. When the chief arrives, I will ride to him first. I will tell him everything of your mercy and of the evil that stalks this land." The chief's plan. An hour later, the prairie was alive. Doc watched from his window as a great cloud of dust heralded the arrival of the Apache war party. Naya rode out to meet them, a solitary figure of conviction. The chief, a man of immense stature and bearing named Korkope, the owl, listened intently as Naya spoke. He then rode to Doc's barn, his large imposing figure dismounting with quiet grace. "Doc Vance," the chief spoke, his voice deep and resonant. "My daughter tells me you have a heart that knows no color. This is a thing of beauty in a land of bitterness. I know these lands. I know the smell of a lie and the taste of a greedy man. Silas Thorne is both."
The chief leaned in, his eyes blazing with the fire of a born strategist. "We will use Thorne's own lie against him. When he returns, as he surely will, you will give him what he seeks. You will tell him, 'Take them.'" Doc stared, horrified. "The chief, if I hand them over, they'll be killed." "You will not hand them over," the chief corrected, a chilling calm in his voice. "You will hand over the illusion of them. Trust me, Doc Vance. This is how the truth is dragged into the light." He gave swift orders to a trusted runner. "Ride hard. Bring another 400 warriors from the southern range. Tell them the owl needs 500 eyes watching this valley." He looked at Doc. "We will wait. The end of your time limit is near. Thorne will come. The vultures are caged." 2 tense days passed in silence. The chief's camp was concealed in a canyon miles away, waiting. On the 5th day, the day his deadline expired, Silas Thorne returned. His party now swelled to 7 heavily armed men, all with the cruel confidence of vultures coming for the kill. Doc stepped out of the barn, his heart a lump of ice. The chief and Naya were hidden deep within the structure. "Silas," Doc said, the word tasting like ash, "I have done as you asked. I cannot fight an entire tribe for my land. Take them. They are yours." Silas grinned, a truly horrible expression of triumph. He signaled his men to dismount and storm the barn. Before they could reach the door, the earth seemed to erupt. From the low hills, from the creek bed, and from the deep brush that lined the fence line, war cries tore the air. 500 Apache warriors rose from the landscape. Silas and his men froze, rifles half raised, staring in stunned disbelief as they were surrounded on all sides. The sight was terrifying. A seamless ring of bronze silent men on horseback, armed with rifles and bows. They were caged. Chief rode out of the brush, a figure of magnificent power, and stopped his pony directly in front of a petrified Silas. "Look around you, Silas Thorne," the chief said, his voice carrying the full weight of the prairie's majesty. "If you draw breath, you will be attacked from all sides. Chief, now, you will tell the truth. Why did you attack the Davy Ranch? Why did you attack Doc Vance? And where is the good doctor's wife? You have 10 minutes to speak truth, or you will answer to me." One of Silas's youngest men, barely 20, dropped his rifle, trembling uncontrollably. "It was Silas's idea," he cried, his voice breaking. "He made us do it. He wanted Davy's land cheap, so we disguised ourselves at night to look like Apache. He did the same here. He said the Black Knight and the reputation of the Apache would hide our true identities." "Where's Doc's wife?" Naya demanded, emerging from the barn, her rifle trained on Silas. Silas, seeing the game was irrevocably lost, his life hanging by a thread, spat out the location. Near the creek, in an old wooden cabin. The chief immediately dispatched 3 swift riders. They returned within the hour, a frightened but unharmed, Alara Vance riding safely between them. The reunion between Doc and his wife, a silent, desperate embrace, was the only movement not focused on the surrounding warriors. The chief then ordered, "Bring the sheriff. Tell him that justice has been trapped." When Sheriff Miller and his deputies arrived, confronted by the overwhelming silent proof, Silas confessed everything. The evidence was undeniable, the testimony of his own man, the presence of the chief's entire war party, and the safe return of Mrs. Vance. Silas Thorne was taken into custody for attempted murder, kidnapping, and frontier terrorism, facing life imprisonment. The chief rode to Doc, his expression one of deep respect. "You chose a man's heart over a fool's fear, Doc Vance. You helped our people and trusted your life to us. This is appreciated by the owl, and by all his children. You are now free to travel to our territory any time. You are our brother. Doc, his arm around his wife, could only nod, tears of relief and gratitude streaming down his face. Thank you, Chief. You saved my life, my land, and my family. The warriors, as quickly and silently as they came, mounted and rode away, leaving behind only the dust and the truth. From that day forward, Doc Vance's ranch was considered neutral, sacred ground, protected by the unseen eyes of a people who valued loyalty above all. He had earned his place, not as a settler, but as a member of the tribe, a healer who placed humanity above the hatred of the frontier.
If you enjoy our Western stories, consider subscribing. It really helps us keep creating more for you.